we do need to talk about the elephant in the room, why there's only 3 of us and not 4 of us, and why the show started as it did. We should bring that up in conversation.
That's because I am trying to take over for Ag while he is missing. I am by no means the qualified person he was. So everybody will have to bear with me as I learn how to do this, and will never come close to as skilled as Ag was as how to do this. But we are here to welcome those of you to From the Ashes. And now we'll do the intro that we've started. Dungeon Crawler Network podcast, all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that has left the gamers behind. See, I can't even read as well as Ag does.
Practice. It's practice. The dude has made. We're on episode 107. He has 106 episodes of practice.
But you realize I talk for a living, and I can't. So I can't even. So good. It's just. He's just so good at it, but we'll just have to wait until he's back, so.
And he is going to come back. We should make that absolutely clear. This is not a permanent thing. He's dealing with some life right now, and when life is taken care of, he is more than excited to come back and retake his throne as the head of this entire little endeavor that we're doing.
Yep.
So with that said,
we'll keep going.
And until then, the 3 of us will inadequately try to make this show.
Stumble along, learning as we go.
Figure it out.
So we're going to introduce Krojak at this point. That's you. Hi.
Hi. I am being introduced. And someone is claiming that I have reverb in my microphone, which is very embarrassing. Anyways, my name is Krojak. I'm a content creator for Ashes of Creation. I've been a content creator for 5 years here on YouTube. I run 2 YouTube channels, 1 Twitch channels, and 1 plural, and 2 TikToks, as well as other random social media stuff. I've been following this game since 2017, initial Kickstarter. Backed it then, back it now, and I'm very, very excited that we're moving forward with full-on MMORPG content. And I could not be more jacked to get back to work on this podcast.
Alpha, your turn.
Yeah, Alpha Soul. I have been in the Ashes community pretty much since the beginning. I've started doing videos maybe a year and a half ago. And yeah, just excited to get back to talking about Ashes of Creation, the systems as it develops, and yeah, it should be a fun time.
All right, we got the reverb going on. Everybody's good. I'm not breathing into the mic anymore. We're good on that.
Do we fix it?
I think we're good.
All right, awesome.
Oh wait, how does it sound? Is something off with my sound, or what's going on?
Apparently, Krojak is just loud.
I could be loud. I'm very sorry. I'll back away from the microphone. Sorry.
Okay, I'm underwater, and okay, let's try and...
Or that's just a picture behind you. I'm not sure which.
Gotcha. Oh, could be that as well, too, but I moved the mic closer to my mouth, so maybe that will help if I move it
there you
like
go.
That.
That helps. There you go.
Is that better?
It'll be better. We'll find out as we go along with the show.
Cool.
Okay. Let's go on with the current direction of Intrepid Studios and Ashes of Creation.
Jeez, the current direction. Well, it's a whole lot better than the previous direction. Okay, let's rephrase that. It's not necessarily better than the previous direction. It's just different. It feels so different from a time where we had Apocalypse was the only thing we were talking about, and the community was very divisive on the topic, and it was a lot of negativity, a lot of toxicity, a lot of questions. And now it's so night and day to that point, right? APOC has been put to rest for the time being. I think they're going to bring it back eventually. for the time being, it's laid to rest. We have MMO footage of the real MMO map, and all of a sudden, Steven's going around and talking to big content creators, and they're building a lot of hype. And there seems to be nothing but positivity. The hype train has left the station. You could not have more of a day-night scenario to where we were when we left this podcast to where we are now, and how Ash the Creation is actually becoming forefront in a lot of MMO gamers and content creators and people's minds. It's insane.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like this now. We don't have that. I don't know about you guys, but I used to spend a lot of time trying to justify like what Ashes of Creation was doing. Like I understood what they were doing, as somebody who works on a lot of digital software, but trying to explain that to people on a constant basis was beginning to like really wear down and detract of the excitement from the game. So now that they've done that focus shift and they're just talking about the MMO, haven't heard a thing about APOC in months, and I think that's a good thing. And yeah, the excitement is through the roof. Everyone is talking about it once again, and now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of things and just really digging down on the actual game. So yeah, it's good stuff to me.
Yeah, it's no longer speculation.
Yeah.
I think they took that change in direction into APOC, and it taught them several things, right? Stephen as well, of who to listen to, who not to listen to. But it also gave them very valid feedback on their systems. I'd be very interested to know what happened and what they changed based on what they did in APOC. Because personally, I think they're probably went a bit too deep into their own changes. And to see them turn around this quick. I mean, in reality, I stepped away in like November, right? November to September, August. It's not a year. When you're talking that level of software change, that's a long change. That's not just a year. That's a 2-year change. So there's been some significant changes in a shorter period of time than I would have expected.
So does that lead us to believe that they were developing MMO-related content, MMO map, all that kind of jazz, alongside APOC? Because some people believe they were. Some people,
they were.
Because the turnaround speed.
They had to be.
Yeah.
They were doing what they're saying they were doing.
Yeah, they always said that they had been working primarily on the MMO, and there are, just a very few amount of people working on APOC, right? So it would have had to pan out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the speed of the turnaround is testament to that, right? It can help put the doubters' minds to rest. The people who are like, well, they're abandoning the MMO, they're going to become BR, those kinds of people, like this speed of turnaround and production. Like every single month now, when they do their dev live stream, we're seeing concrete stuff. We're seeing animations. We're seeing like all sorts of amazing things every single month now. And it's great. It's way better than the concept art days or the grayscale model days.
Yep. You had built your groundwork, right? You had built all this stuff. You had built all this back ends. Now you're starting to see the fruit to become of all that hard work. You can see the front end of it come out of it. Before, you couldn't see all that. You could see bits go back and forth? How's that going to help you, right? You can see a screenshot of Steve running around from one machine to another watching these tests. That's not going to help you, right?
No,
but now you're going to see it. Now you're going to see this stuff come out. This is what I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah. It's some good stuff. We'll see. I really can't wait to get into the next test.
Speaking of which, we have somebody here, guys, who has been playing the alpha test. Who was here for the last test. It was totally Stormzlord.
It's not me.
Alpha Soul. So Alpha Soul, I would give you the floor. Talk about your experiences. Talk about what it was like and the things you experienced in that time.
Yeah. So okay. So it caught me by surprise. I was not expecting it to be as far along as I thought it would. Now, don't get me wrong. There is still a ton more that they have to do, right? It's just, and at the end of the day, it's pretty bare bones in terms of what's actually there. But the good thing is, one, the world is beautiful, right? Like once you get in, and it's pretty smooth operating. One of the things that I like to think about, I think Aggelos, I think we were talking about this before, but one of the things that WoW has going for it is the fact that it's really smooth, right? It's a game that, you log in and it feels good to actually play. I would say that Ashes of Creation is heading in that direction for how smooth it could potentially be. So that is a very positive thing. It was really cool to walk around, run around in the world. For the space, we'd also talked about the space and how big the world actually is. It's a lot bigger than I, took for granted, if you will, or took credit for. So I forgot what the exact number was, but we actually started running some tests for how long it would take to get from point A to point B. And in general, things just do take longer to get around in, just because, at least at the beginning, there was no flying. And once we got our flying mounts, even then, it took a good amount of time to get from one end to the other. But still, it was, kind of easier on that.
Quick interruption. Is this landmass that you've been testing on going to be the landmass, do you think, that we're going to use in the full-fledged Alpha 1 that we're seeing this fall?
In the full-fledged Alpha 1, I believe the landmass we're going to use is actually bigger than this one.
It's supposed to be 25% of the map or something like that.
Yes, it's supposed to be 25% of the map. We're on just a small island, basically.
A small quotations island.
Yeah. We're on. I believe it's called Alpha Island, basically. Right. And so, not after me.
No.
But
he says.
He claims.
So it's going to be much bigger than that, and that'll be interesting to see, because there's a lot of curious things that I have that I'm just kind of floating around my head, especially regarding these ecosystems that'll pop up, because we got a taste of how the world changes as the nodes level up, right? And you got to see different monsters appear here, different monsters appear there, and different leveling spots changed. I also can't wait to get in, because the first iteration that we played did not have scaling for leveling. What I mean by that is, like, let's just say you normally, kill a monster and that monster gives you 500 experience, right?
Yep.
If you added another person to that, group or whatever, you still got, what was it again? I think you still just got 500 experience for that mob. Or was it
more or less
on that? I forget if it was either less or it was the same.
Yep.
Amount that you got. I think it might have been less. Either way, it wasn't balanced for group. There was I remember the equation in my head was that it just wasn't worth it to be in a group.
Right.
For leveling, and that was, in
that case, it would have been split, because you would assume a group can kill things faster.
Yes, it was split. Yeah,
it had to have been split. Then.
Yeah. So apparently, I think they probably fixed that one, the upcoming test. So it should be a better barometer, if you will, of grouping with people. Yeah. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun to experience the town, the node system. Got to participate in the mayor part for a bit, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun kind of going around in it.
So a lot more systems than we expected were online. A lot more than the base systems, not the complete versions of them, but at least the initial iterations of them. Yeah.
A lot of those systems were, and it was good to see. I think the funnest, or not the funnest, but the most fun part of that testing was somebody figured out where the dragon was, right? After we popped the node to level 3, and I think Steven just automatically popped it because, obviously we had limited time and he didn't want to have us go through. So he pops the node, and people go running around. Everyone scatters different directions looking for things to level on, and somebody finds the dungeon. And so I was grouped with a couple of the envious guys, and so we headed over there, engaging in PvP and stuff on the way. And then the dungeon itself is massive, right? There's a ton of stuff kind of going down, even in that level 1 dungeon. Yeah. And everyone basically just decides, okay, let's put aside our differences. Let's try and be the first to kill this dragon. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And go through, because if you, I'm not sure if you guys remember the stream, but Margaret and crew, they almost killed the dragon, I think, with just 4 or 5 man group. So we go in figuring we want to be the first ones to kill it. So we're, keep in mind, we're only level 3 or 4 or something like that, right? And the creature, I think, is at least level 10, and it's a raid boss basically. So we go through, and we're coming up with all sorts of weird tactics, because it's just stronger. So like the tank would tag it and run around in a massive circle while everyone's whiffle batting it on the side. You know, you die and you run back in, and so basically we were zerging it. We got it down to, after a couple attempts, like 50%. We're like, yeah, this thing is going down, and then it hit stage 2, and then like 80 raptors spawn that are all level 10, blah blah blah, and we all die. So that was pretty cool of it, but yeah.
I'm curious to see, because we saw a lot of that kind of stuff from the footage that Steven provided us, that 4K footage, that video everyone's seen by now. I'm curious to see, especially if we're going to have a test sometime soon within the next couple of weeks, for all the people that have been added to it, what kind of systems have been added? What kind of things have been changed? What kind of things do they want to test? Do they want to go back to that same dungeon, or do they want to test something new and different? I wonder what their goals are going to be for this next 10-hour window or so of playing.
I would think they're not going to change the dungeon.
No.
Because you're going to want to leave the dungeon the same. You're going to want to modify certain parts of the test, but not all of the test. Right? Because you want to have your control, right? And you're going to want to have your changes. So you're going to want to figure out what you're going to change and how it's affected by your test. Right? If you're going to change certain abilities and certain ones not, certain growths, whatever, certain ones you're not going to want to change to see how that effect's going to happen. It'll be interesting.
But they're definitely going to add more. So, for example, they only had 3 of the 8 base classes in this test. I wonder if they can get that number to 5 or 6 per se, right? Because right now they had cleric, mage, and tank. Could they introduce the rogue archetype or the ranger archetype into this next test? I wonder if any classes are available yet. Wonder. There are so many questions, and we're not going to know until the test actually comes up, hopefully soon.
I forgot. So here's where my age is coming in. I forgot whether or not, like I'm getting some things confused. There were supposed to be 5 classes, I believe, but I forgot for which test. Is it the pre-alpha test, or is it the alpha test?
I'm hoping they have all base classes ready for Alpha 1. That's what I'm hoping for.
No, it's not going to happen.
I'm hoping. No, you don't think so?
No, it's not going to happen.
Too bad.
They've already said that. They've already said that there's 2 classes at the very least that are going to take a while to go through.
I'm guessing Bard and Summoner, just guessing.
Yes, exactly. It was Bard and Summoner. Yeah.
It doesn't seem like the Summoner needs an entire AI element involved, and then the Bard, like, that's going to be so much fun to try and figure out how to make that class interesting, but still being a support class. If it does as much damage as a TPS class, why bring it? Blah 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 blah. That's gonna be very fun to see how they're
a damage class or a support class.
It's classified as a support class that can heal, but not as good as the cleric.
Yes,
it has buffs. It has all the
so it's
plus
damage.
Buffs.
It's gonna be a buff thing, right? That's all it's gonna be.
Yeah,
with healing and some damage.
They said force multiplier, I think, was the exact.
So they're similar to Atlas, right? It wasn't a class, but you had what'd you have? You had musical instruments, you had drums, you had different things that would affect your abilities, affect what you were doing. It wasn't a particular class, but you would play a song at different levels of abilities before you did it, right? So this class, I hope will be the same type of thing, but it'll be interesting to see how they'd work that in as a class, and that's what you'd want to do is just do buffs.
So some of the buffs I saw in the wiki, it listed like increased damage, increased healing, increase of that. But there was one specific interesting tidbit that reminded me of some Overwatch, was increased movement speed. I am very excited to see the Bard switching to a song or a piece of music, whatever, to increase the movement speed of a group maybe around him, so that they can position within a raid much easier, get out of fires quick.
Flight of the Bumblebee. Yeah,
and how fast will the Bard be able to switch between these modes?
So that actually sounds very similar to the Bard in EverQuest. Bards in EverQuest had they had a speed buff as well too that they could play, and good bards used to be able to do this thing called twist their songs, right?
Song twisting.
So that like if you stopped playing, the buff that the bard would it would still have a duration that it would continue to play for like 15 seconds. And so they would twist in between songs in order to,
Best shamans in old school World of Warcraft were able to totem twist. Same concept. They would be able to keep Wind Fury weapon on their melee people with a 6 or 7 second long duration. and swap their totems to make sure win-free weapons stayed on, but then switch to like the increased strength or increased agility totem back and forth. Same concept back in World of Warcraft days.
So how would you be able to judge the effectiveness of a bard?
Great question.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Right, because you can judge the effectiveness of a DPS, of a healer. Do I die? Right, of a tank. It's fairly easy to judge. How do you affect of a bard?
Right.
Yeah.
So how will you be able to know just how much additional damage they're providing with their damage buffs or additional healing?
Is it them or is it the guy just better? I got better, or is it the bard? Right.
Well, play testing, like when you're in a raid and you run some bards in your raid, or you don't run some bards in your raid, you can get a feel after time of like just how much of a difference these bards are making. But how many bards do you need? Are you overlapping bard effects? Like there's lots of questions.
Interesting.
And how much AoE, how much support healing do they offer? Like if you compare it to a cleric, is it like 30% of a cleric? Is it 50%? Like there's so many questions we have. And again, that's why the bard probably is going to take some time to develop, because it is such a different thing.
Portion of a healing and the portion of speed, because a lot of PvP is speed, right?
Positioning is huge,
right? So that'll be interesting. So I can heal if you need me to. I can help you out there, but I can help you to move faster too. So
we're thinking about this from a raid perspective.
That'll be interesting.
Imagine large scale PvP. Imagine being able to position your ground melee troops to the wall faster because the bar's got the speed buff. You're just charging the walls way quicker, avoiding siege weaponry. Like there's other ways to think about this too, as opposed to
the naval battles.
Yeah. Oh my God, made the boat go faster.
If you're able to
people
position
row faster.
Yeah. If you're able to position your ship and you're able to do a ramming speed in a literally faster manner, what could happen?
There's an aspect in the alpha that I think you guys will experience it in a second, but I wonder if it's an intentional design decision. Clerics don't have instant heals.
Ooh, that's interesting so far.
Does anybody?
So what I mean by that is even the quickest heal that the cleric has, from what I remember, was it's not just the cast time, but it's after you cast it, and let's just say it's a second to go off.
Yeah.
I want you to picture like 2 seconds before the heal actually takes effect.
So not only is there a cast time, there is also a travel distance in a sense.
Yes, there's like a travel distance in effect. Like it doesn't take place instantaneously. It's not like.
So if you need to save that tank because he's going down, you've got nothing so far. You've got no tool to just save him.
Does anybody beside the cleric?
No, the only healer that I saw was it was cleric was the only one capable of healing, and so that's the only one.
I wonder if other classes would have that, and that's where they're going to come in as support classes as needed, because they would have those insta heals.
Or maybe you only have access to low level healing spells. And some of the more powerful healing spells are not, because you only go up to a certain level. What if you're like a level 20 or a level 30 or a level 50 healing ability allows you, like on a cooldown, to just drop a thick instant heal? Or you need the primary class cleric, subclass cleric, high priest, who unlocks the ability to have instant fat heals. Like, we don't know, because that's so far down the development road.
Oh, it could absolutely be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
or
could,
the thought is continual napalm healing. Just continual healing, right?
Just spamming it nonstop while you have Mama.
You're just going to stand there and hold your arms up the whole time. That's what you do.
Overhealing me, damn.
You bring somebody along to hold his arms up because he's got to keep the healing going. That's what you do.
He's got sticks with like things to hold him up on either side. He's just there.
Right? He's going to stand there and heal the entire time.
Ooh, random question.
You could, but it's like you already have a consequence for that. Like you can't even this early within it. As you just, spam or whatever, you run out of mana pretty quickly.
I was going to say, how's the mana feel so far? But then again, we're low level, so it's really hard to compare.
Yeah. So I like the direction because it already appears they're thinking about choice for it, right? If you want to, it may be an option that you can spec into quicker heals or more instantaneous heals as opposed to going another route with your healer, which is like because the other cool skill that they got was like a leech. It's the whip skill that you saw from the cleric. That's actually a leech that if you spec into it, it becomes more powerful. It returns not only like a little bit of HP, but more importantly, mana.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
So
you definitely want those mechanics. You don't want the cleric to go out of mana in the middle of a raid fight and then go, well, I'll just use my wand now, right? You want them to be able to replenish mana somehow, actively.
Or another support giving them mana, right?
The bard,
like somebody
mana
else
regen
giving them stamina, you're going to give them mana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the summoner has a pet that can provide some mana regen if he's in your party, like that kind of cool stuff. That synergy between all these classes.
That's where the support's going to come in, right? You're going to have those classes. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
This is so nice. This is so nice. We're theory crafting actual MMO stuff right now. This is so
it's actually going to happen. Right?
It feels great. Just gotta say, we have a real map to look at.
And I'm very, very interested in the naval part of this, and I'm waiting for that.
You noticed how the left to the right is separated by the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Split in half.
Even if you can't go from one side to the other, right? You still have an entire set of oceans, whatever you want to call it, seas.
Yeah.
That you're going to be able to go around, and you're going to be able to set naval traps, right?
Yep.
For your caravans at sea, right? When you want to do that, there's going to be perfect spots that you're going to have to look out for, and that you can set your own ones at. I was talking about this.
You're going to be very excited about this thought process I had. So if we look at the map, there are two gateways located on this map in the central region. One is in that plains area on the left-hand side with that beautiful big bay. There's a gateway there, right? And then another gateway is on the right continent on the left-hand side, middle again, where all that forest is. So there's two gateways, two starting zones that are very close to each other, separated by a stretch of ocean. And I can easily picture port cities on the middle, on each of those coasts, to enable trade between these two starting zones where metropolis is, because we all know the starting zone, that's probably where your first metropolises are going to pop up. People aren't going to go too far from the gateways. They're going to start building up nodes there, and those are most likely, in the real world scenario, going to be the first metropolises those servers ever see. So I can see naval trade through there, and then pirating, and then like fleets to defend the pirates or defeat the pirates. It's going to be fantastic.
See, but you know where it's going to be is between, I don't have quadrants on here, but between the light green and the tan.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
You literally see what I see.
Right there in between there, but I see a secondary node, right? Below there in the big bay in the tan. Because you're going to have to, you grab a pirate, you gotta get out of there, right? Because you can't just take the stuff and just disappear. Mm-hmm. So say you're a pirate, right? Well, what if I'm the pirate of the pirate? Mm-hmm. What if I wait for you to take on the big English Navy, and then while you're all beat up, I'm going to take you?
Yeah, you've got a military node on the coast with a beautiful, powerful fleet, and you're part of that, and your job is to go out there and fight the corrupted pirates out there because you're a bounty hunter, an ocean bounty hunter. Oh my god, I can't wait. It'll be insane.
I'm excited. It's interesting the way they talked about that, but I'm very interested in that part.
And what I'd like to see, this is related but a bit different. Because we know the Underrealm is 1/5 this map in size, I'd love to see entrances to the Underrealm exist on each continent. So that if I have the choice and I don't feel like having my goods, my caravan, go the ocean way to get to the other side because there's good prices over there, if I wanted to, I could also go the Underrealm way and have my goods go that way. Choice. If I want to go ocean, sure. If I want to go Underrealm, that'd be great too. Forget my goods again.
Either way.
Maybe a bit more expensive either way. Maybe one's less risky. Maybe guilds are waiting on the one side. Like there's lots of factors, but I'd love to have that choice.
I would love to have that choice as well too, specifically for the continents being connected just in general via Underrealm. That'll be interesting to see if they are able to pull that off. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be very interesting.
Oh, I can't wait. Can we have it now? Can it be done now? Can we log in live now? Because let's get real. I mean, Alpha 2, which is the most persistent alpha, is supposed to be 100% of the map. All stuff, all classes, all subclasses, all crafting, blah, 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 blah.
Isn't that next week? No,
next week. Yeah. We're just gonna develop all the possible node building locations on all stages in all the environment and all that. It's all done. All the quest text for every NPC on the entire planet, that's done. No. It sucks. I know logically,
and it's going to be worth the wait. Now that we're starting to see it come out, it's going to be worth the wait.
Absolutely. Though I'm still think I'm correct on my racials my race starting zones map theory that I talked about in my one live stream, staring at this map. Though some people are arguing with me, saying that there aren't technical racial starting zones in the game.
Aren't technical racial starting... okay, I think that's splitting hairs. That's not...
It is splitting hairs.
That's... each race will have a preferred portal to come out, basically.
It's coming out in the bones of their old civilizations, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yes,
Races can choose to start anywhere, but the dwarves have a general starting zone, and the elves have a general starting zone.
Yeah.
From my understanding, which is going to be very, very cool. And I've already figured out where they all are, because it's hilarious. It's common.
I messed up on mine for the two of them.
Which ones did you mess up on, do you think?
I'm almost positive I messed up on the Nakua.
Oh, yeah?
And the... Yeah, because they're the island dwarves, right?
Yeah, they're the Polynesian-inspired dwarves.
Yeah. And the... I forgot what it was. One of the one of the orcs. Yeah.
Now, are we under the assumption that if we look at this map, and there are 4 circles for the divine gateways and 8 diamonds for the racial starting zones that you don't have to go to, but you can, are we under the assumption that the dwarves are in a section, and the elves are in a section, and the humans are in a section? Or are they split up, do you think? I think they're together.
You think they're together?
So out of one circle, which is the divine node, I think one section of orcs went that way, and one section of orcs go that way. And then the dwarves over here, one section of dwarves go that way, and one section of dwarves go that way. That's my feeling. Specifically because of where I think the dwarves are and where I think the elves are. One of these divine gateways, which is located in the middle of the map, that light green with the forest there, the divine gateway is a circle, and the 2 diamonds are both in the trees.
Yeah.
The trees to the north, which you would put the wood elves.
Yeah.
And then the trees to the east at the base of the mountain where you put the military elves, because according to their lore, they're tree-dwelling elves that love to build near the bases of mountains that have fortified positions.
Correct, and we've actually seen the Divine Gateway is in that elven town, and it's surrounded by mountains, basically, that it comes through. And so, so I had the elves there as well, too.
So if both races of elves go to that location because they're the only wooded areas where you want to put them, I'm under the assumption that the core races stay together. So the 2 dwarves come out of one divine gateway and split off, and the 2 orcs come out of one divine gateway and split off, and the humans, etc. The humans are super easy.
Humans are super easy. Bottom line.
So obvious. You put the Valoon in the desert, so you know where the humans are. The Valoon, they're in that beautiful light green bay. The normal humans go north a bit, and the Valoon, the desert ones, go into the desert to the east. Makes perfect sense.
So the problem then happens with... Okay, so here's where I started messing up.
This is fine. This is fine.
This is where I started messing up. Those 2, we're in agreement on elves.
Humans and elves make sense.
I think those make sense. It's the dwarves. The dwarves and the orcs are really that are throwing me off. Okay, so the islands, one of the circles down there corresponds to the islands, right?
Yeah.
And so initially I was like, okay. Yeah, exactly. Initially I was like, okay, that would be Nakua, right? But
that's my feeling too.
But I was looking at the other orcs. The other dwarves. The other dwarves are mountainous, right?
Yes.
And are stuck in mountains. Those aren't mountains.
They're not technically mountains. You're right.
They're mesas.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what threw me off. So that's when I was like, okay, and that's why I was saying, perhaps they're not all together, right? Because if they're not all together, then my theory would have more held true that the Nakua are there and that the other dwarves are over there, right?
The snowy mountains on the far northeast.
Exactly, on the far northeast. And then that would leave the Vec and the... what's the other one? Vec and...
The badass orcs, the power and strength orcs. It's gonna bug the daylights out of me. It's right there. The Renkai. Thank you, Jack.
Renkai. There we go.
Renkai.
Thank you, guys. So the Renkai, one of them, Stephen had said, was modeled after Aztecs, like the Central America type.
That would be the Vec, I believe.
Yeah, that's the Vec. Okay. And the Renkai were modeled after...
According to their concept art, there's a lot of swamp. A boatload of swamp with the Renkai.
Oh, okay.
Tons and tons and tons of swampland.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. And so I think I had initially put the Renkai to the northeast.
Yep.
And the Vec to the west, or to the
So
western
you and
side.
I are close, but we disagree on where the Vec go and where the standard dwarves with their geometric shapes go.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm under the assumption the dwarves stick together, so we can agree the Nakua are in the tropics according to the
Yeah.
Polynesian design, and I believe still that the geometric shaped dwarves can still live in those semi mountains, but not quite mountains.
Got
and I'm not sold. My theory falls in the Vec section. So I almost know 100% the Renkai go on the northeast because that southwestern diamond in the northeast looks like swampland. It's like a gross green, off yellow green with all the ponds in there. That could be swampland. So I think the Renkai go there because they're swamp people.
Yeah.
But I'm not sold on the Vec going into the snowy mountain bit.
Yeah.
So your theory that makes more sense for your typical traditional geometric shape, sturdy beard dwarves going in the snowy mountains, I can agree with you there. I can see that. And since you mentioned that the Vec are very Mesopotamian, very Aztec, I can see them going into that Mesa section, you believe. So I can see your side there for sure. So I'm not sold on the Vec going in the snowy north.
Yeah. That's
I mean,
okay.
It's great for stargazing, but because that's what they're thing. But I'm still not sold on it.
Oh yeah.
Everything else I feel 100% on, but the Vec and the standard dwarves, I can't convince myself that they should stick together because your theory of the dwarves being in the snowy north makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, here, let me pull up the concept art for them again.
Mm-hmm. If you can find some snow in their concept art, I think we're done here. You know what I mean?
The Vec?
No, for the dwarves, the standard dwarves.
Yeah. Okay.
If you can find some snow in their concept art, like we're done. We just solved everything.
I could have sworn I saw like the dwarven castle for the Dunzakel.
Mm-hmm. That's their name. Thank you, the Dunzakel. But everything else is just so easy and makes sense, unless they change the locations of the gateways on the eventual map.
Yeah.
But I don't see why they would, because they seem to put a lot of thought into this. The humans' location makes a ton of sense. You can see the humans making a beautiful a naval force in that bay area there. You can see that.
So I'm on the wiki. Sorry.
You got it. Go.
I'm on the wiki. Dwarven biome, snow mountain.
Okay.
And it's that geostructure of snow basically. And I'm looking at all these pictures, and so, but the Nakua are obviously island. Yeah. And so I would almost think that they would have to be split then, if that's the case.
Sense. However, I don't see the elves being split. I don't see the humans being split.
Right.
But for some reason, I can agree with you there that because let's say we can guarantee or agree that the Dunzenkel belong in the snow region up north, the Nakua aren't going in that swampland. We know they're going to the tropics, so you're right. They need to be split.
Yeah.
So you have one race of orc and one race of dwarf living nearby each other. Maybe in times past they were at constant war with each other, right? Because these orcs and these dwarves were in close proximity on either continent. So maybe they were at constant war during those times.
Yeah. Actually, here, perfect. I just pasted you a picture.
So for next week, we're going to have to take this map, put little circles for everybody of where we think they're going to be, right?
If we can get like little icons of the races
of where we think they're going to be and put them up there and draw them up there. Unless they change the entire map.
Unless they change the entire map.
And just, this is a fake map and faking you out. But I think that's
a big Easter egg.
We'll go back and we'll do that. So I think it's a good idea. We'll take our theorycrafting of where they should be. We can move them around and show everybody, because I'm lost, to be honest, where we're pointing where they are. So that's okay.
If you pull up Google and open up a large version of this map on a monitor, you can see the circles with the dotted path lines and then the diamonds coming off the four gateways. It's visible and easy to see.
And I get it. I'm just going to catch up and slow down and pay attention and, I'll get there. I just want to take my time.
Now, there's a couple points of interest on this map that have me very curious. What is that mountainous region in the southwest with the clouds amongst it? What is that? What is that? Why are there clouds? Is that clouds? Is that fog? Is that like phosphorus fumes? Like, what is that place down there? I want to go straight there when I spawn. Day 1 of Alpha 2. I just want to run there and figure out what that is.
Well, wait. No, we won't have the full map in Alpha, right?
Alpha 1, no.
No, Alpha 1.
20% of the map. 20, 25.
No, even in up to beta.
I thought Alpha 2 was a full map. Unless is it the full map with certain things turned off so that not all the fun things are revealed to us during testing?
I could have sworn that we will not get the full map until.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Because I was trying to figure out.
I could be wrong. Hold on a second. Let me try and look this up.
Regardless of whether they give us the full map in Alpha 2 or not, they cannot allow us to discover all the secrets during testing.
They won't. They won't.
Can't. Let's say you build a metropolis near a mountain located somewhere in the northwest, right? Just build a metropolis near there. In live, that thing could spawn a demon. That thing can do some crazy stuff. In testing, nothing happens. Just it's a metropolis. Congrats, you built it. No world event triggered. Let the world events happen. Maybe you want to do a couple just to make sure your world events work. But the majority of them, no, don't turn them on. Leave them off during testing. Let us discover that stuff at live.
But you realize I'm going to be the guy who builds a boat and runs everywhere he can, right? All over the map as fast as he can just to see all this stuff.
I was talking to Ag about this. So far, Steven has said that this world is flat, a.k.a. you cannot sail west off that western tropic island and end up on the far east side near the snow.
That's okay. You just keep circling around.
Just keep doing that.
I want to see what's on the other side, right? Let's go check. Make a big circle, the whole thing.
Yeah, search the oceans, try and find some cool islands that aren't on the map, or
right. There's gonna be underwater stuff. So what the heck? There's gonna be out there, right? There's gonna be a lot of stuff.
How deep does that water go? I'm never gonna find out.
That's gonna be interesting.
Did you guys see the stream with swimming?
No.
I saw a little bit of that. Yeah.
Oh, but it looked murky a little bit, didn't it? To me, a little bit.
It did, but I like the direction that they're going because it feels very Arc Age-ish in terms of the water and how you can go down. And, it looks like it has a potential for a lot of exploration too.
Yeah, give us a reason to use the ocean and to go underwater and to search things and to find sunken this and sunken that. Maybe a sunken city that used to be on the land was no longer there because of a catastrophic event. Put dungeons down there for all I care. Like,
they
some
said
cool stuff
there will be dungeons down there.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
In the water?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I was reading through the the dungeon bosses section today, and there will be underwater stuff.
There was a dungeon teased way back during APOC days when they were trying to, give us some MMO stuff. Something about like a squid or a kraken themed kind of underwater dungeon kind of deal going on. That could definitely be located under the sea. That'd be cool.
That'll be a lot of. It'll balance it out to me, right? One of the things I like about Atlas is the ability to do water stuff, but there's not enough land, and this is going to get both together, right? What I like about BDO is a ton of land stuff, not enough water. It's to put these two together.
They added in BDO a boatload of ocean content.
Oh, did they? Oh,
pun intended. Like a massive amount of ocean content.
How is it?
I never touched it. Because you can't beat Sea of Thieves to me for the feeling of sailing. You just can't. Their water physics is second to none.
Disagree.
Ooh.
Oh no!
A competitor.
The Atlas water is phenomenal.
Really?
The Atlas water is second to none. Right?
Wait, time out. Have you played Sea of Thieves?
Yes.
Oh wait, you have. I
played with you. Right? Yeah. We got thrown off the boat.
Yeah.
No, the water is the PvE is not so good. PvP it's okay, but the water itself is just phenomenal.
Very cool.
It's really cool.
I hope they do a good job with it in this one.
I
really hope they do.
There's a distinct ability. If you do water right, it's phenomenal.
You know what? We talk about wanting different kinds of experiences. So we know there's going to be a lot of land stuff. And you're like, can we have some water experiences? My brain's kind of like, okay, you got the land, you got the water. I want a raid in the sky. And people are like, what are you talking about? Like, I want some weird kind of like raid located in a cloud. And we're like, there's just a cloud. We actually go up there. There's actually a city up there, a civilization up there in the clouds.
Could be.
And the only way up there is because something flies down and carries you up there. Like, I want some cool stuff like that. This is a fantasy realm. Give us some cool fantasy things that happen.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? Give us that cool fantasy stuff.
Well, they'll be under the world, so why not be up top?
And one little thing, Steven, if you're watching, we know that only 15 people in a world, on a server of 10,000 concurrent people and 50,000 people registered in the server. Only 15 people tops at any one point in time are going to have flying mount, right? Your 5 mayors, your 5 kings and queens, and then some people who have some raid drops will cap maybe 50 people. Please, somewhere in this world, or multiple places, I don't care, have very cool locations that you can only access with flying, where you find a beautiful mountain lake with a beautiful scenery and places you can go. So that if you ever do become a mayor or a king or queen, that you can go and appreciate, and you can know that only other mayors or kings and queens throughout the history of the server have ever seen.
Interesting.
It wouldn't be hard to incorporate, and it's just some small little cosmetic kind of thing. You go there, you can sit there and kind of enjoy this spot that you know so few people have ever seen or will ever see.
But then you get killed.
See.
I'm sorry.
Until that Krojak and live stream.
Something jumps out of the lake, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's a monster in there. Oh, there's an NPC, and it responds to you, and it addresses you as a mayor or a king or queen because it knows you're that person. You can interact with it and talk with it, and maybe get some achievements or some cosmetics or something cool. Just those kind of things. That'd be kind of neat. It shouldn't be too hard to incorporate. Be kind of a nice
floating cities. I like that idea.
Floating cities,
right? Back to the floating city. If there's floating cities pre-fall, right? Why wouldn't there still be floating cities? Now they may not be anybody in them, right? Because they were pre-fall. There may be corruption in the cities, something, right? So
or
that's
the defenses were activated.
Man,
the defenses were activated before
some
they
game
left.
had floating cities.
Yeah,
or floating raids. I just think I can't remember anymore. Floating raids.
I picture a civilization that fled, and before they fled, they turned on all their defensive systems, like golems or magical constructs or things like that.
Well, that would be Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it was a flying whale. But that's okay.
Something like that, yeah. Not that only flying members can access, right? This would be something that you want to have people access as a raid.
There's some way to get to it, but yes, that would be interesting.
A room in a mountain that is actually a teleportation circle that will bring you to the raid location.
Yes.
Right? Because we know fast travel is very limited, but the technology does exist. So this fast travel to only bring you to the raid and back.
Right. Some way of getting there and back, something to happen, some particular spell that would just take you there. That would be very interesting. Yeah, the ability to go through the portal, right? So when miniature portals, that'll take you to a city and back, right?
Ooh, so I mentioned like magical constructs that are there to defend the place that they turned on as a defense mechanism as they're fleeing the place during the cataclysm. Why not have a magical construct that can fly you up there and then come back and land, or fly you back? Like fly the entire raid. Imagine an entire raid getting on the back of this flying construct that brings you up to the floating thing in the clouds. Because why not?
Interesting.
Cool. I just want cool stuff.
That would be DLC 2. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. That's down the road. I'm not saying on release. I'm saying just like something down the road because we know we want to dive into the oceans. So let us go into the clouds.
There you go.
Be so cool.
There you go. Peace. All right.
Make it so.
Make it so.
No, I'd really enjoy that. Man, like the more I stare at this map, one detail I was live, someone explained to me and said to me that I don't know where they heard this. I couldn't find a timestamp in a live stream for this, but the length of time, according to this person, to walk through one grid on this map was 15 to 20 minutes. For a walking
I think that's the case. Because
on foot.
All right, so I think that that's probably accurate because think of how I think one of these grids, the intention was the size of the BR. I think that's what my measurement came out. Huh?
That's pretty significant.
It's pretty significant, especially when you consider the fact that the movement is much slower. Like you might be tempted to think, oh, it's not big, but the movement is much slower. There's no flipping around like a ninja.
No lunging through the sky, the BR,
leaping through the sky or anything like that.
Yeah.
And things just take longer. So if you were to just walk across, that's about how long it would take you. And so I think that's pretty accurate in terms of how big it might be.
And it makes sense. If you're on a horse, cut that time in half. You assume the horse, a really good horse might double your land speed, right?
Yeah.
So you cut that time in half again. If you're on a boat, assume it moves as fast as a horse, or maybe a bit faster, right? So that makes some sense. So it still takes time to cross that channel between the two continents, but not a huge amount of time. We're not talking Atlas levels of time. My goodness, that game. This ocean travel is so long.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because when I look at a lot of these places, like I look at the rivers, I'm trying to figure out, it's kind of hard to, without scale, how wide across these rivers are. How big of a bridge would I have to build across these rivers? How long would it take me to cross that kind of stuff. So 15 to 20 minutes on foot across one grid makes sense in game.
Yeah. I wonder how deep they are.
The rivers.
Yeah.
The lakes.
It mentioned that some would be deeper, some would not be.
Yeah.
Right? Because it mentioned that certain rivers would allow ships, certain rivers would not.
Oh,
So the rivers that we see might be able to allow ships.
Yeah, the ones we don't would not.
Right. There's going to be small streams and rivers that we can't see on this map.
Possibly the one through the middle of the Tan Desert section probably wouldn't.
That's a big river.
But it depends how deep it is, right?
Mhm.
And how much they deal with the dynamics of rivers, right?
Ooh.
Do they allow for
Yeah.
hydrodynamics of sand and all that, or do they just cut a channel in the game?
Is it slower to move upriver than downriver? Do they keep that in consideration? Like, there's a lot of questions. Are they going to have ocean currents in this game, or are they just going to keep it kind of simple for the ocean?
Good question.
I don't even think they know the answers yet.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I'm excited for the test.
I hope. Unfortunately, I think we're probably going to be let down as far as the water mechanics go.
Oh, up front, yeah.
Because I mean, I'm only basing it based off of Atlas, right? As you described, I mean, they kind of base their whole game around it, right?
It depends what engine they buy. Because Atlas bought an engine to bring in to Unreal to do it.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
They bought a hydro engine. It with all these different engines, right? You can take pieces out, put pieces in. You buy a particular engine for hydro. It's different. Like BDO has one they brought in, the wrong one personally, right? But you can bring in different hydro engines, different tree engines, different whatever. So it depends which engine they pick.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's good to know. So, okay. There's
it's like the weather. The weather's again depends on the weather. What weather engine they choose, the one that comes with Unreal, or whether they choose to put another weather engine in.
Oh, pop quiz. Best game that had the best, or game that had the best weather effects. Go.
Well, right now,
Animal Crossing.
I disagree. My wife plays it all the time.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. I hear the music in my sleep. My wife plays it all the time. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Never played it. Was it good?
I play it. I just started playing it the last couple of weeks. To me, it's very good. Very good weather.
Cool.
Their effects on what you're doing.
I can't think of one, to be honest, and a serious answer. And I can't think of a game because my games have always been very. I'm all in on one game for a long stretch of time. So it's like 10 years of World of Warcraft and Overwatch. Yeah. I'm always very much all in on something. So I don't have enough broad gaming experience to give you a good answer when it comes to weather.
I think I'm gonna. Oh, somebody just mentioned it. I think I'm gonna have to go with Sean Zelda, or the most recent one.
What's it called?
Breath of the Wild.
Yep, that one.
Haven't tried that one. I'm just jumping into Crowfall, so I'll let you know. But I think that's a little cartoony, so we'll see.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Now, New World, again, can't say much, but very interesting.
The New World, yeah.
So it's supposed to have some survival elements, so weather should be pretty important in that game.
Oh, in New World? Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes, NDA.
We'll say yes.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how important weather is going to be for Ashes. So we know they're kind of like farming and things like that, and farming is affected by the seasons, and seasons rotate every week. So if it rains too much, could my crops get ruined? Or if there's no rain, if there's a drought, could my crops get ruined? Like or if there's tons of rain, is my footing ruined on the pathway? Or if there's strong wind, am I slowed down in my movement? Like I've got questions about just how much weather's going to matter.
That's what I want to know. It's the specifics of how, like, I don't want what, I guess my only ask is that weather actually means something. So it doesn't just be like another
cosmetic
setting.
change.
Yeah, a cosmetic setting.
More stamina to walk against the wind.
Exactly. If it rains hard, right, your visibility is reduced by 50%. You can't see it.
That's good.
Right?
Fog.
Fog or whatever it may be. There's many different ways that you can have.
But fog and like arc is ridiculous. You can't see, right? So there's a balance between the two.
Now, there are people in chat talking about the season rotation thing, and a lot of talk has occurred about whether 1 week per season, so all 4 seasons in a month, is too quick, and some people suggested month-long seasons or 3-week-long seasons or 2-week-long seasons. I like the 1 week-long season concept, where within a single real-time month, you go through the entire life cycle of farming, from planting to harvesting, and then winter, and then planting and harvesting within a 1 month cycle. I can only imagine the kinds of situations might happen if farming is only usable once every 4 months, or harvesting only occurs once every 4 real life months.
Well,
about shortages of resources.
That depends where you are.
So you're saying that different parts of the world would have fall and spring at different times in this cycle rotation. Interesting.
It depends, right? So you're going to rotate your crops based on where you are.
On the flip side of that argument, if we look at this map right now, we have this snow section in the east and then tropics in the west. I highly doubt those types of zones will see much in the way of seasonal changes. And maybe the more temperate places, the light greens, maybe some of the dark greens, might see seasonal changes. So maybe the western continent could be in the summer while the eastern continent is in the winter, minus some of these particular zones that seem to be cemented in certain environments. Maybe.
Yeah, the way they're laid out really doesn't work for hemisphere weather.
Speaking of hemisphere weather, are we convinced that this map is sideways? If there's snow on the one side and tropics on the other, if we're strictly taking magic out of the equation and talking about geography,
well, there's no Pangea effect.
No, but then
the right side is by a pole, either north or south, and the left side is by the equator.
No, there'd be a pole in the left then too.
Yeah, there would be.
Is the world, instead of spinning this way, spinning this way?
Well, if it don't connect, there is no pole.
If the world is flat, none of this matters.
Flat, it doesn't matter, right?
If it's a disc going through space, none of this shit matters.
It's a disc world, so it doesn't matter. We're just good to go. No poles. It's a fall off the edge. We're good.
I'm gonna go with the sideways rotating island. So it's still technically that snow is towards a pole and the left hand tropics are towards an equator, but the thing's spinning this way. That's my theory.
Maybe this is just a quarter of a globe.
Possible.
Right? Maybe this isn't the entire world, right? Maybe this is a quarter of a globe, and that's why this is the north part, but the tropics, if you turn it, the north is actually in the northern hemisphere is the sun, the snow. Mm-hmm. The tropics is on the left, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know why the desert's in the middle because it's storm, I guess, but you know.
Who knows?
You never know. It's magic.
So your theory,
witches.
let's say they want to leave room for further expansion of the world. Mm-hmm. And your theory of all of this being located in one section of a globe makes sense. So let's visualize this. The snow is in Canada, the tropics is Mexico, and Russia and Asia have not been discovered on this world yet. The entire other side of the world globe has not been touched, and we're all chilling on one side of the globe in a size of space which was located between Mexico and Canada. This is all of North America on their globe, and there's tons of other part of the world to be discovered.
And
Could you imagine?
A desert because of the corruption, not because of weather.
Sure. Yeah, that could be the source of the corruption for all we know. If the developers want to write
something as we go,
that
it's great. Yeah, we can write anything we want.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I like the idea of room for expansion.
Yeah.
More worlds to discover, which would mean more metropolises. Maybe down the road you can allow 10 metropolises because you discovered an entire other side of this island or this planet, or the disc floating through space.
There you go.
So we're on the face side of the coin, and then there's the tail side of the coin that has all these lands because we're a disc in space. Because flat Earth, flat Vera.
Flat Vera.
I'm gonna start the Flat Vera Society in Vera and
TM.
create my own cult. It's happening. Flat Vera Society. I'm TM right now. Flat Vera Society.
All right. So what are our final thoughts for this, we'll call it second Reborn episode?
Ugh. It
Let's
feels
go with
good
Alpha
to
Soul.
talk about. We have concrete MMO developed. I just want to gush.
What's to talk?
I want to gush about how amazing this is. That people like Asmongold, all these amazing streamers are hyped about it. That we have real MMO stuff and MMO footage and all these great animations and map design and new ocean stuff and all this. It's good. This is so much better than the VR days. Oh my god.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It's the excitement in the community. You can feel it everywhere. Everyone is hungry for a new. And I really think it really came after the announcement of the delay of New World, and then it was kind of like, wow, man, there's we're not getting a new MMO, and all of a sudden now, Ashes of Creation is at the forefront. So next week will be really fun. Hopefully we'll have done the pre-test by then, and we'll have a lot more to talk about specifically on that. But a lot of things to talk about. Yeah.
Quick insertion before we leave. Chat makes a valid point. I talked about my Discworld, my two sides of the same coin. The Underrealm could connect us to the other side of the coin world.
That's true.
We could eventually discover all the other landmass
There you
through the Underrealm.
Interesting. Yeah.
Good thought, Chad. It's a good thought.
That's a good thought.
There you go.
There you go.
That is a really good thought. I'm going to steal it.
All right.
It's becoming a piece of content.
All right. So, Alpha Soul, where can we all find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me either on Discord on the Dungeon Crawler Network, or you can check out my channel at YouTube/Alpha Soul, or is it the Alpha Soul? I always forget which one it is. Yeah.
Krojak, what about you?
Twitch.tv/Krojak. Dear God, I do too many things to point you in all the directions. If I pointed you in all directions, you'd go nowhere. So Twitch.tv/Krojak. Start there. Won't go from there.
Start there. All right. Now, next week, we're not going to have an episode. Right?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we'll have the episode the following week. But you can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you can find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Do we still have Facebook? I don't know. Ark, look into that. Be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com, Dungeon Crawler Network. If you want to help support the show, and consider leaving us 5-star reviews on iTunes, because we still have that, so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words, and sometimes it matters. Thank you for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.